Hello, my name is Exotic Panda. I'm going to be showing you how to speedrun Minecraft Dungeons any percent on the most recent version of the game. I will speak about the older versions of the game later on in the video, but this is for the current version of the game. That way, this video includes all the different platforms, and I also just feel like the current version of the game is better at showing the skills that are needed to perform on a top level. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and just get right into it. This character right here, I made for the purposes of just getting through the levels faster to explain everything quicker. But just real quick, I'm gonna get another character and I'm gonna show you what you start off with. When you load into the tutorial here, we don't play through it. We just open the menu and just exit the tutorial and it takes us straight to camp. And then this is where we'll get on with the actual run. So here you'll see that when you first start, you're level 1, you got a level 1 sword and a level 1 bow. When you first load in to your, the new game that you just created and you start running, this level 1 bow and sword can be salvaged for emeralds, like right now in camp while you're here. So before you go into Creeper Woods, you can salvage this for emeralds that you can spend at the shop. Then you can go into Creeper Woods, which makes sure your difficulty is the lowest difficulty. And when you go into Creeper Woods, that sword and bow that you just got and salvaged will be given back to you at the beginning of Creeper Woods. This only happens when you have no weapon or bow on the character. Like, you get rid of them both, and then you enter the level. The game will see that you do not have weapons, and it will give you weapons. So you can only do this at the very start of the run for free, like 30 emeralds that you can use at the shop. The shop you get in Creeper Woods, and I will show that, but give me 1 second to switch my character over to the other character so I can get through my explanation faster. Okay, now over here on the other character, again, you'll start off with a level 1 sword and a level 1 bow, but for the purposes of just explaining things, I went ahead and gave myself some speed gear just to get through the levels faster, and explain a few things about some gear down here, which I'll get to later. But for right now, I'm going to put on this Evo robe. You will not start off with this again. This is just for explanation purposes, and I'm going to throw on these two boots and this death cap because the death cap does give a increase to your speed also. I don't know how many people know that, but yeah. Okay, again, you're going to go into Creeper Woods on the lowest difficulty because that's the next one that you can do. Well, first off, let me talk about the route, because there's a specific way that we go through the game, and the way that we do it is we start off in Creeper Woods because you have to do Creeper Woods to unlock any of the other levels on the map first. Once you do Creeper Woods, you unlock Redstone Mines, Cacti Canyon, Pumpkin Pastures, and Soggy Swamp. Soggy Swamp and Pumpkin Pastures are not required levels to beat the game. You'll see here that Desert Temple is unlocked by beating Cacti Canyon, and Fiery Forge is unlocked by beating Redstone Mines. Highblock Halls is right about here on the map, but it's unlocked by doing both Fiery Forge and Desert Temple. And then once you do Highblock Halls, you can unlock Obsidian Pinnacle, which is the final level that you do in any percent. And once you defeat Arch Illager, that is the end of your run. Um, but the route is you start in Creeper Woods, and then from here we can choose between Redstone Mines and Cacti Canyon. We go with Cacti Canyon first. This is because Desert Temple, well, one, Redstone Mines has a boss at the end of the level, and it's a lot slower to deal with this boss earlier on than it is to just deal with him once you've gotten geared up. But we go to Cacti Canyon, and then we go to Desert Temple. Because Desert Temple, you can get a boot from the level, like a boot of swiftness, which you can also get in Creeper Woods. But you can get a boot of swiftness, which when you use it gives you a speed boost. It's self-explanatory. But this is just another way to get a boot of swiftness earlier on in the run. So instead of, going through Cacti Canyon, Redstone Mines, and, 15 minutes already passing or something like that, we just go Creeper Woods, Cacti Canyon, Desert Temple, and hopefully, we get a boot from it that speeds up Redstone Mines, then Fiery Forge, then Highblock, then Obsidian Pinnacle. So it's Creeper Woods, Cacti Canyon, Desert Temple for the boot of swiftness, Redstone Mines, Fiery Forge, Highblock Halls, Obsidian Pinnacle. But yeah, I'm going to start with Creeper Woods and bring it down to the lowest difficulty, and then I'm just going to run through it. When you get into Creeper Woods, you will be level 1, and all you'll have is like a level 1 bow, and this is why you need to go in on the lowest difficulty, because the bow does not one-shot enemies any higher than the lowest difficulty. But anyways, I'm going to start running through here. When you see enemies, you're going to want to roll and shoot. You're going to do this up until you get level 1. At that cliff, you can roll off. But yeah, you're going to roll and shoot until you get to at least level 1. You're just going to keep doing it. Now, right here, you can see I have the map overlay. This helps me see ahead of me and where I need to go next, so I don't accidentally go down the wrong path and end up going the wrong way. Another thing is there's these little checkpoint markers. You can follow them to the next place so you don't get lost also. It's just a really easy way to navigate the map, easier and quicker. But right here at this creeper head is where you'll find the merchant. So go ahead and go in here, and when you walk into the room, an ambush will start. A bunch of creepers will spawn. All you gotta do is kill the creepers. And, like I said, you can't one-shot those creepers if you're any higher in difficulty. You get a gold chest. You'll want to open this and pick up whatever comes out of it. It dropped an armor. You're gonna want to pay attention to any armor that you get, and also swift pot dropped. Pay attention for swift pots. If you get a swift pot, you're gonna want to grab it because it saves a good bit of time over the run too. So grab any swift pots you see. I already grabbed the merchant on this save file, but the merchant is right there, so make sure you grab him there. And go ahead and grab every pot in the room and then leave. And just continue through the rest of the level. You're just gonna walk through the level normally, but I'm going to go ahead and skip to the spider cave, so I'll be right back. So at some point, you'll be walking through this gate in Creeper Woods, and this will bring you to where all these spiders are at. Now, about right here, you can start to look out for a pig with a chest on its back. It's a loot pig. But you're going to come down here and, keep rolling and shooting, of course, for that experience. Because you want to get an enchant point. And see, here's the pig. This pig in Creeper Woods, you want to make sure that you kill. It takes about 2 shots to kill, but the reason why is, as you can see, an artifact dropped there, and this is the perfect example of why you want to kill this pig. A deathcap mushroom dropped from the pig. In this level, you can get 3 artifacts, being the boot of swiftness, the deathcap mushroom, and the tasty bone. In Creeper Woods, your best drops would be boot of swiftness and deathcap mushroom. But if you don't have the best time starting out, like say you're 40, 50 minutes, somewhere around that area, I would still continue your run if you get a tasty bone, either from the loot pig or from the end of level chest, which I'll get to in a moment. Uh, you just want to you just go with whatever you get, because the tasty bone will actually help you with mobs whenever you're first learning how to like do combat against enemies. I'd say the movement's the easy part. It's more the combat that's the hard part. So you're gonna want to use the tasty bone because the tasty bone spawns a dog, and I'll just kind of show what this does in case you don't know. But that dog will just straight up just start smacking all the enemies. So yeah, he's pretty good. I mean, if you even get him there at the loot pig, he's pretty good for this whole section. But yeah, you'll get the villagers, the villagers. You'll usually start like left and then go around the right and come back up this way. But when you get here, these two are always here. There's always this one here and this one up here. When you get this one, you're just going to want to walk up these boxes and then walk up up that little ledge. Because it takes a lot longer to walk around to the steps and go around. So, I'm just going to walk up the steps and do that. Plus, that way, if you walk up that little ledge there, sometimes you lose villagers because their AI can't follow you up that little ledge. I'll talk about specific glitches that are more like general glitches towards the end, like after I've shown all the levels. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to show off all the levels first, and then go ahead and show off the general glitches and whatnot. But you're just going to leave the level, and when you come back out of the level, there's going to be an end of level chest. These give you artifacts. And like I said, in Creeper Woods, you either get a Tasty Bone, a Boot of Swiftness, or a Death Cap. Again, Boot of Swiftness is probably the best one to get. Death Cap is a pretty good second because it gives you both speed, which I'll show. This is my normal walking speed, and when I activate it, I go just a little bit faster. It's not that much more, but it's definitely useful. But it also gives you a lot of damage too, though. So, well, not damage. It gives you more damage and faster attack speed, which really helps with the enemies in, I think, Cacti Canyon, Desert Temple, Fiery. It helps with all the rest of the levels, pretty much. Okay, just put it that way. When you come out of Creeper Woods, though, you should have about, I would say, 100 to 150 gems, something like that, and you should be at least level 1. So you should have level 2. So you should at least have 1 enchant point. You're gonna go into the shop. You only have 2 slots, not 3. I have a third because of the villagers I saved in Creeper Woods just now, but you only have these 2 slots. Okay. In these 2 slots, you're gonna want to look for either a Boot of Swiftness or an armor with Swiftfoot on it. You can get a hunter's armor with Swiftfoot to drop in Creeper Woods while you're going through it too. So if you do, and you already have your enchant point halfway through the level, you can just go ahead and enchant it once. I have it leveled up to 3, but you're only gonna be able to get it up to level 1. But that still is a 30% movement speed buff every time you roll. It pretty much, and it looks like it effectively doubles like your speed. So even though it says 30%, it really feels like your movement speed is being doubled. You just go a lot faster, and you can keep, like, unlike the Boot of Swiftness, you have to wait for it to come back. Like, see, I already lost it, but you gotta wait for it to come back before you can use it again. With the roll, you pretty much have it all the time, because by the time that it ends, your roll is already back. So, anyways, yeah, keep an eye for a Boot of Swiftness, a Death Cap Mushroom, or a armor with Swiftfoot on it, so then you can get through these levels faster. Now I'm gonna go into Cacti Canyon now, Again, make sure your difficulty is lowered so you don't die. But for the most part, you just run through the level, you ignore everything unless you have to kill them. Like, say they're just being a nuisance, they won't get off you, they're taking your health. You can turn around and kill them, but once you get rid of the enemies that are being a nuisance, then just go back to just ignoring every single one. The baby zombies in this level, they can kind of push you around, but still I would ignore them unless they're hitting you too much. Unless there's like too many of them, you know what I mean? That kind of thing, but I'm pretty much just going to skip from place to place now that I've kind of got the general like shop and movement stuff out of the way, I think. But I'm pretty much just going to skip to the important stuff like objectives now, so I'll see you at each part of the run. Now you're going to get to a point in Cacti Canyon where you're going to see this big tile on the map, and you're going to see this gold chest in the middle. Instead of going towards that gold chest, you're gonna want to go around the side of the tile and just kind of make your way over here around that gold chest. That gold chest is there. It's a nice spot to get gear, but you don't want to go for it just because you can end up dying and it take you a life and it costs you time and also make your chances of your run dying in Cacti Canyon higher if you take a death. Because you can game over and you do not want to game over. Now when you get to a supply chest in a level, this is probably the first one you'll see. There is one in Creeper Woods, but we don't go for it. Every other level though, if you see a supply chest, open it up, because if you're low on health, you get a piece of bread here which gives you regen for 30 seconds. It's really good. It heals you back up to full, guaranteed, and you can carry it through a good portion of the level too. It'll also drop arrows. You want to pick these up because they give you more arrows to use for your ambushes and against your boss fights, and you will not run out of arrows in the level if you make sure that you pick up these supply chests. As long as you don't use too much of them either. Now I'm at beacons now, but I would say for beacons here that there's two different versions of these beacons for Cacti Canyon, and these are the bad ones. What you want to do is these are the slower ones, put it that way. It's about, I don't know, 5, maybe 10 seconds slower. It's not that great. But you're going to want to get up these steps here, and you're going to come to your first beacon. Both of them have 5 beacons. You'll get to your first beacon, activate this, and then you'll go this way. You want to go this way because it's a little bit easier to walk in this direction than it is the other direction. And you're gonna make your way over to the 5th one, but kind of walk in that like circle, and you can see how I'm just ignoring all the enemies. But yeah, walk in that circle and then just walk out and you'll go on a straight path this way. I'm going to go get the other version of the beacons to show that version too, so I'll be right back. Okay, now I got the other version of beacons. It took me a minute, but when you walk in here, you can either go down this middle path to the stairs or to the left. Just go to the left. There's a lot less enemies on the left. If you go down the middle, you'll run into more. Yeah, I know there's a bunch of archer dudes there, but trust me, there's less enemies down the left. You'll pretty much hit that first beacon, you'll come this way. Don't go across the bridge that way, and I'll show you why. But yeah, come this way for these beacons. See, these beacons are closer together, so it's a lot quicker than the other one. So that's why I say these ones are about 10 seconds better. I'm going to clear the mobs out real quick. So on computer, yeah, I don't think you can do this on console, but on computer, you might be able to actually. I'm pretty sure Mifa does it with their controller. But on computer, you can stand under this beacon and just click. If you can interact with that with a controller, I'm not sure. You could try it. But I'm pretty sure as long as you're under it, you should be able to interact with it, I think. But if not, you got to go around. Now, on this version of beacons, after you do all the beacons and you go across the bridge, you can come down here and get this chest. You want to grab it because you can get a level 8 trick bow. which I'll get into why a trick bow is good from this level, especially a level 8 one. More often than not, you're probably not going to get a level 8 one. I probably only got a level 8 one because of the Evo robe I have on right now. But yeah, there was a pig over there, but he wasn't in my direct path. That's another thing. Creeper Woods and Desert Temple are probably the only 2 times you're actually going to worry about the pigs. Make sure you get your supply chest. But yeah, Creeper Woods and Desert Temple are the only time you're going to worry about the loot pigs. But yeah, right here, I'm going to use the trick bow. But the trick bow bounces its arrow from enemy to enemy. And see, here's a creeper. For these ambushes, you can use the creepers to your advantage to deal some damage like that. But don't, you know, of course, deal with them quick. I did do that kind of slow, but just to kind of show that you can use the creepers. And I'll be using the trick bow from now on. Oh yeah, make sure you get swift pots. I kind of walked past that one. You'll just run straight under the bridge, get that diamond key in there. Make sure you don't drop it. It's a real pain to pick back up once you drop it. You turn these beacons on and you go across this bridge. But yeah, the trick bow is really good because all the arrows bounce. I don't know why it doesn't seem to be doing much damage though. Now when you grab this gold key, you can just roll off. And the reason I'm telling you to do this is because you spawn up here, and now your path, oh my god. Yeah, but there just has to be that many freaking enemies. Your path is pretty much straight over the bridge. So it makes the pathing a lot better if you just roll off, because then you don't have to deal with, usually you don't have to deal with as many enemies in your way. Now I'm going to just go to the end of the level. And you'll get to an ambush. This ambush is 4 waves. You have to get to the top of these stairs to start it. And I'll show you kind of how to deal with this. Especially with a trick bow. You're going to want to use your trick bow to just kind of bounce the arrow and just kind of kill everything as quick as possible. This trick bow is not that great. But it'll kind of make sure that you got everything killed too. But yeah, you know, use that creeper, blow everything up. If you get a shadow brew, try to hit them with it instead of not, because that's exactly what I just did. Oh, I killed the creeper. Wonder if that trick bow is any powerful. Yeah, it is. See, it's a better trick bow, so I'll switch to the better one. You know, when you see stuff like that, you want to quick, you know, look at it real quick. Don't spend too much time looking at your gear. Generally, if it's more power, go for it. Now, this luxury merchant's right here. It probably takes 2 seconds to grab it. But I'd say if you're starting off or you think that you can afford anything from this luxury merchant, I would grab him, and I'll tell you when to look at him. And then you'll just leave Cacti Canyon. I gotta be honest, Yom and FootCream are top runners. Technically, I am there, but I'm nowhere as good as them. They will tell you what you, they will not grab the luxury merchant. But I will, and I'll tell you where to use him at. Wonderful Wheat is, isn't bad. Camel's pretty good on current patch, just like the dog. But speed-wise, this Wonderful Wheat doesn't really do anything. So if you don't really have any artifacts, I'd throw them, I'd use them, you know what I mean? But if you already have, like, double boot and whatnot, I probably, well, I mean, whatever you get, you get. You know, if you get wheat, it's better than the totem. I think you can get, like, oh, wow, you get a lot of things. You can get beacon, totem. I think that's a lantern. I think the lantern's okay, too, but it's a little tougher because you have to charge it up. And the horn. The horn's good because it can stun. Well, not stun. It slows enemies down, so, like, when you get up to Highblock, it's way better than the camo just because you can push everything away. So, I mean, horn from Cacti Canyon is probably what you want, but how likely do you get it? Not really. Bring your difficulty down and go into Desert Temple. And I'll meet you at the first objective. Now in DT, you'll get to this pressure plate here. It'll activate that trap, and you'll get supplies, of course. Again, like I said, get your supplies. There'll be enemies chilling there. Now you'll come across this. I recommend walking over these stairs so you don't activate it. And I'm gonna get rid of these guys so they don't activate it. But just ignore them. But just for the purposes of learning, walk over these stairs. Now there'll be enemies here, like I said. For the most part, ignore them. That one you can't dodge. Then you hit this beacon, the walls go down, and you get the key, and enemies spawn. These will be guards. What you want to do when they get close, just... Okay, maybe not just, but pretty much when you see them coming, try to roll, because you'll dodge right past them. I put myself in a corner. But I'm just trying to show you can dodge past these guards. So I would just run and just dodge past them. Usually, like, you'll have them spawn here and here. And when you get, like, right about here, you'll just roll, like, in this direction. You'll go right past them. But, yeah, just roll. Really try to use your roll there, whether you have a swift fort or not, to just roll past them. Like this. Because their hit takes a second. When you open this gold door, you can walk again around the stairs so then you don't get slowed down by these pistons blocking you. You're going to come this way. This room will lead you to a secret area, which will bring you, you know, this is where you unlock Lower Temple. You activate the beacons, but I don't know if anybody knows, there's an obsidian chest down here. You roll off this ledge. This comes down, and you get an obsidian chest. And this is like, it's like 50-50, because sometimes the angle of this room, you can roll down here, but sometimes it's angled the other way, and you can't see the door, and you can't come down here. But you want to check this obsidian chest, because obsidian chests are the only other chests, besides like the loot pigs drops, that can give you an artifact, and DT's is the quickest one to grab, and you have a chance to get a boot in, well, DT is short for Desert Temple. You have a chance to get a boot from Desert Temple, so you're gonna want to open it. See, I got an artifact. I got Totem of Shielding. This is pretty useless. This glaive is actually pretty good if this was an actual run. You're not gonna get it to drop at 17 though. It'll probably drop more at like 8, but I'll talk about weapons later. But you're gonna come up here and open this gold chest too for a chance at like armor, because you know the armors are not pretty decent too. But a chance at armor and another chance at a weapon. You're not gonna get, you know, an artifact from the gold ones, but it still has a pretty good drop rate for or a pretty good chances for like a gear upgrade. Gonna just run through the level, and you're gonna keep an eye out. There should be a loot pig. Okay. I might have missed it, but just know between that obsidian chest and the ambush, you should see a loot pig. So if you see it on your screen, go for it. And then you'll hit this first ambush. This first ambush, I recommend standing like on the corner where you can kind of see everything, and then just kind of shooting at the enemies that like you're not right next to. You're not, oh, and I'm gonna switch to a glaive actually, just because it dropped in the level. Because the glaive's better than the sword. But yeah, right like about now, you should either get a glaive or a soul knife. If you don't have Swiftfoot, there's an enchant called Echo. I would enchant your sword, whatever melee you have. If you don't have a good bow and you don't have a good, you know, melee, I would yeah. If you don't have a good, if you don't have Swiftfoot and you don't have a good bow, you know, you have nothing else to use your enchant points on. You should have like maybe 2 or 3 enchant points by now. I would enchant it with Echo, because you get an extra hit in, you do more DPS nice and quick, and you just get it done with. There's also, you know, chances like for a mechanical short bow to drop in this level out of the chest. This has accelerated fire. You can put this on, and you just, you know, the more you keep shooting, you see this acceleration going up over here. It's 100%, and you just beam. Okay, I'm gonna switch to that for the purpose of rest of the level. You can walk along them stairs on the side, like I said, avoid those pressure plates, and you don't activate any traps. Here's the pig. Make sure you kill him. Gave me a short bow. Short bows are pretty good too. Like even without the acceleration, short bows are pretty good. Ignore Endermen. The Endermen, you know, they'll try to track you down. I would just ignore them. Sometimes if you go fast enough and they quit teleporting for a second, you'll lose them just like I did. You'll come here. You'll activate the Nameless One boss fight. Desert Temple boss fight. And you're just gonna destroy them, okay? You're just gonna get rid of all the guards. For the most part, you want to try to get rid of the guards while dodging these balls that he throws at you. Then you're going to get in his face. And something you can do is you can kind of swing with your sword and then shoot. Swing, shoot, swing. Yeah, like swing, shoot, swing, shoot, swing, shoot. You kind of want to try to do a little swing, shoot when you get in his face. So just kind of go back and forth between swinging and shooting, and you do more damage to him, especially with like a death cap. I would say if you use like your death cap with your glaive, you'll probably hit more damage in with just your glaive with like death cap. You're gonna have to know how to use your weapons and your artifacts, but like especially with the soul knife here, this is another one you can get. The soul knife is better than the glaive because it does more damage, but you can just sword shoot, sword shoot, sword shoot, sword shoot, sword shoot. And if you shoot in between your hits, it also kind of refreshes your hit a little bit too. I would say the glaive though is a little bit better for dealing with like any guard type enemies because it has more reach. However, the soul knife does more damage, and the soul knife when paired with the death cap mushroom can really just shred through uh that boss, and that boss can sometimes get like glitched whenever you kind of move him, like when you get up in his face like that. And it makes it easier to deal damage to him and just get him down quicker. Another thing you can do though with that boss fight, if you stand far enough away from him, which I didn't show it off, but if you stand far enough away from him, he won't attack you. But you're just gonna leave Desert Temple.
Staff is destroyed. Once again, the Arch-Illager is thwarted.
And you're just going to get your end of level chest. And you know, you're gonna hope for a boot. Now you're really only looking for a boot out of Desert Temple for the most part. Like I said, you're keeping an eye out for Swiftfoot and Boots of Swiftness. This whole time, you're looking out for Swiftfoot the whole run, and you're looking out. Well, I will talk about something else when we get to Fiery Forge because this is a possibility. But for the most part, you're only looking for Swiftfoot up until this point. There's Redstone Mines. There is another enchantment called Rush, which I'll get into. Which if you do get it, you can switch to it. I mean, you can use Rush if it's all you have. But if you have Swiftfoot, like earlier on, I would, I don't know, say like at the beginning of the run, you get both Swiftfoot and Rush. Like you have two different armors, one with Swiftfoot, one with Rush. I would choose the one with Swiftfoot because you can just refresh your Swiftfoot every time you roll, like I am doing here. Make sure you get your supply chests. You're going to grab that villager, head over to this one, and then head over to this one, and you're done with that. Just a little zigzag, okay? These enemies will be on the bridge. Just kind of kill them. Don't try to ignore those ones. They're just going to block you. Just kill them. Get them out the way. Make sure not to hit, see that pig, he was kind of out of my way. He's not a pig I want. You only want the loot pigs in Desert Temple and Creeper Woods. So just kind of ignore that one. This is a short level, so I'm just going to keep the recording playing the whole time. Now, you're gonna, when you walk in, because this is the fastest way to do these 6 villagers, okay? When you walk in, you're going to want to go to this villager right here. Okay? Watch the minecarts. You want to go to this villager right here. You're going to grab this one, walk down, grab this one. So those two right there. Then you're going to go back up, grab this one, and then you're going to carefully come back out around here because they'll all build up on that corner there. And you're going to grab this one. And like, just keep in mind, I'm wearing a really overpowered armor right now. But keep in mind, when they get on you like they did just here with as many as there were, you probably won't have, you will definitely not have the same armor I have. You'll probably be taking a lot of health. If they start grouping up on you right here like they just did, get past like this room, like just get past, grab this checkpoint, and just get them off of your back right here. Get them off your back. If you go down, that's fine. You'll respawn right here, but make sure you make it to this checkpoint and then continue. But yeah, get them off your back there while you can, because they'll chase you through the rest of the level and they'll make you die at a different spot that you don't want to die at. You're gonna get to the boss fight here. I'm gonna take off my armor for this. Just to show. Get up in his face, okay? Just get up in his face. Real close, okay? As long as you are standing up against him, you cannot get any closer. He won't attack you. This is because his arms, his attack come from like the ends of his arms. I don't know why. So you have to be standing like at least a block away from him to actually hit you because of how long his arms are, because of how they made the model of this like enemy. You have to be standing a block away from him to actually hit you. But since I'm directly in front of him, his arm, like, I don't know, in this game I guess his arms don't bend. He can't, you know, I don't know. So you'll just stand right in front of him. He won't do anything to you, but I would lock your position on computer. You can just kind of, if you hold shift, this will make it so that you don't do any movement and you only attack. So I would just, you know, what I said earlier, hit like, you know, sword, bow, sword, bow, sword, bow, sword, bow, sword, bow. It's a little bit quicker. Sometimes he'll drop a swift pot. You want to grab that. But yeah, as long as you're directly in front of him, he can't hurt you. Go ahead and leave the level. Ignore the blacksmith. The blacksmith does not help. We don't use him in the run. But you're just going to go ahead and leave. But yeah, I took my armor off just to show that I wouldn't die and that he won't hit me. But yeah, you'll get... I'm gonna just get rid of this real quick, because there's specific items I want to show, and they're getting covered up by all the junk. Oh yeah, like I said, make sure you're... this, right here. See, I just checked after Redstone Mines, and there's an evocation robe for... which I would imagine you'd have about 200 after Redstone Mines. But there's an evocation robe. 215. If you can afford it, like you want it, well, you should be able to afford it, and I'll tell you why. Uh, After each level, like different chests kind of spawn on the map. I would say if there's nothing in shop that you want, don't worry about the chests like in camp. But like for example, after Creeper Woods, I forgot to mention this one. There's a chest right here that gives you 50 emeralds. I bet you if I go over this way, yep, there's another one. I think this one spawns after Redstone Mines, this one over here. But there's no reason to go for any of the chests unless there's something in shop that you want. This is something that I would want. I would not normally have 700 emeralds by now. You're not supposed to. I think it's just because of everything I got and that I wasn't using. I got rid of it. But chances are the stuff that you guys will get in the run you'll probably end up using because you won't have any choice to. I'm using this gear for the purpose of showing off, like, you know, when you'll get what kind of thing, uh but if you can't afford it at the time and you can't get any chests to afford it, you can just reserve it, and then after you finish the next level, you can come back and buy it. But I mean, especially an Evo robe with Swiftfoot, that's like the best you could get, I would say. So you would definitely want something like this. So I would buy this. If you I wouldn't, I mean, sometimes, you know, if there's nothing there, but you want, if you have enough emeralds, you can restock. You see, this time we got a death cap mushroom. It's a little bit better. At this point in the run, you'll only have 3 slots unlocked. After Redstone Mines, you'll have 3. I have 4 because this is my second attempt at making this video. But, yeah. Again, ignore the luxury merchant. He doesn't really help you, except for one spot, and I'll show you. But check this merchant every time you're in camp. I don't know if I said that, but check him every time you're in camp. I was already in Redstone Mines. We're gonna go to Fiery Forge. Make sure you're on the lowest difficulty. And now this is where it starts to get tough. I would say for the most part, it's pretty easy to make it through the level without dying. But you're gonna have some tough situations in Fiery Forge. There's gonna be a lot of hallways with a lot of enemies. So just kind of watch yourself, kind of weave yourself through the mobs. I'm gonna show you this one chest though at the very beginning of the level. I think we all go for it, and it's because I would just go around this way. It's a little bit easier. This chest will drop. This can give you a hammer. Decent weapon also, just say in case you don't have any weapons, or any good weapons yet. Or it can give you an armor such as reinforced mail, which these stats are wrong, don't mind that. Reinforced mail, or mercenary armor. These two are good because in like levels like HH, OP, and especially this level 2, if you're gonna be struggling with any fights, like any boss that you get to, you're gonna want to throw this armor on, assuming you get it from the chest. You're gonna want to throw this armor on, and it's even better if it has rush, because both the reinforced mail typically they have a roll, like a negative roll stat onto it. These stats are wrong, like I said, but they usually have a negative stat on it. So if there is rush on this armor, if you're struggling, like you don't have a good Swiftfoot armor, I would say a good Swiftfoot armor would be at least like power level 10. Uh, but if it's an Evo robe or a Soul robe, I would say it would have to be at least power 12. 12 maybe even 15, because Evo and Soul robes are pretty squishy. So I would say at least power 10 for Swiftfoot by this point in the run. If not, I would probably switch to like just a damage negating armor if it has rush. If it has rush, I would switch to a damage negating armor that drops in Fiery Forge, because these two drop in Fiery Forge. I'd switch to it. However, if they don't have rush, try to make it through the level with your Swiftfoot armor. If you don't have Swiftfoot, I would say just switch to this. If you do have Swiftfoot, I would say try to make it through the level. If you're having a hard time making it through the level, then again, switch to this. But at boss fights, you're definitely going to want to use that armor because you're not even moving. There's no movement that you're doing, so I would just switch to any damage negation armor if you have it for the boss fights for the rest of the run. So I went ahead and I skipped the cores. You're going to want to grab your bread and your arrows. And this is the only time where these waypoint markers you see are kind of untrustworthy. They do point to where the cores are, but they just take you in a straight line to the cores, and these rooms do not go in a straight line. So you're gonna want to look, and oh yeah, if you kill the pig in the core area, you can get a mercenary armor like that, which this has the correct stats, 35 damage reduction. But yeah, if you're getting hit a lot, I'd switch to it. But you're gonna want to look at your overlay map, because it shows the exact path I have to take to get to this core over here. It shows the exact path I would have to take to get to this core down here. It doesn't take much thinking from me, I just kind of go and I do it, because I can see the way on my overlay map. So I'm gonna, get all the cores. And then after cores, you pretty much just go straight back to running. So you'll get all your cores, and you'll come out here, and then you'll go back to running up until the boss fight. So oh yeah, there's usually a pig right after the door. If it's right after, like right in your direct path, I'd kill it. You can get armor, similar chance for armor, another chance for a better weapon, but I'm gonna skip to the boss fight. Okay, now here is the boss fight. Now in current patch, you're going to want to use these cores because these cores 100% hit this boss. He'll get up, you'll shoot that at him, and it'll do that much damage. So use these cores and start pulling him this way. Get him in the middle here. You want to get him towards the middle. When these guys show up, you're going to want to deal with them first. But get him towards the middle here. And see, this one's charged back up, so I'm going to hit it again. But you really use these cores on current patch because they just do a lot of damage, and you don't do a lot of damage on current patch. Now that he's in the middle, I'm just going to go and hit every single one. At this point, I could have just finished him off. But yeah, just use those cores. Get him in the middle, use those cores, and really just screw him up with them. You're going to have to defeat his minions, if there are any, before the gate drops. But once you've killed everything in the arena, the gate will drop, and you can just run straight to the end of the level. Just be done with it.
Fiery forge is destroyed.
I would say what to look for from the end of level chest. I think you can get a totem of regen in Fiery Forge. It helps with survivability in HH if you need any. Yeah, see, a totem of regen. You can use this in HH during the ambush if you need to. But we're just going to go ahead and go into HH. And I would really watch these guard guys. Make sure you don't step near these guys, because they knock you back and they're hard to hit and they do a lot of damage. So usually there's one towards the beginning of the level. Now I am not going to skip me running through this part because I do want to show something. Oh, okay. So on the overlay map, you can get the key here, which you can see on the overlay map. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to switch to the scatter. You can get a scatter in HH, and if you get a scatter in HH, it does some good damage, so you can use that. But I'm gonna just get rid of them for the purposes of explaining what I'm going to explain. If you get key... Oh wait, no, that's not key, that's the big freaking tile. That's key. If you get key, you will see it. It'll look like this. It'll look like this every single time, and you can see it on the overlay map from like a mile away. There's 3 versions to the beginning of the level. You'll either get this key tile, which means that there's a key door and the key is either to the right or to the left. You're just gonna have to take a guess. There's not really any way of knowing what side it's on, but as you can see, it's on this side. You're gonna want key. Otherwise, there is another option. If you can't, because you can't skip the other versions of the ambush. Or not the ambush, because this is the key. The key is really short and easy, but you can also get an ambush. And there's 2 versions to the ambush, and they're just really tedious. There is a skip to one of the ambushes, but I'm not the best at doing it, so I'll probably link a video to that in the description. But I'm gonna go back a minute, because on current patch there is a way to skip out of bounds on some of these tiles, and I think this one works right here. Nope, I did that one wrong. I think I know that one doesn't work there because of the ambush that's there, but usually the sides of this tile, like, you can just fall off the side of the map of. Let me try to see if I can get an angle on it. But there is like these out of bounds like areas, or well, some of these tiles on the level, if you get ambush, you can go out of bounds. You can try to find a way to go out of bounds. This is probably one of the easier ones to do. You stand up here, you roll off to this bottom block, you grab it, because I don't know why they've removed barriers on current patch. Your health has to be more than, I would say, you'd have to eyeball it, more than 85% to survive the fall. Because you're going to fall under the map and you're going to be out of bounds. So here I go, I'm falling, and I'm out of bounds. Now wait for the map to drop, and this is where you're going to want to use your overlay to navigate the rest of the way. Use your map overlay to stay inside of the tile above you, okay? You want to stay inside the tile above you, because if you go off to the side, it'll teleport you back up. That's just one way to get out, but the only consequence of it is there is a supply chest right about here, and you can't grab the supply chest if you go out of bounds. Another thing is, if you don't go out of bounds, you usually end up going over to a well right about here. and going through that way. But since you went out of bounds, well, no, actually stop. Stop, 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 stop. I'm just gonna go out of bounds real quick. I'm not gonna go past the key door. I'm gonna do it the way that they probably do it. They probably come back up to this checkpoint here, which allows you to get this supply chest here, and just continue. And then you make your way over to the well, because in here there's a pig. But yeah, that out of bounds stuff, I'm not too great at that either. So I will link a video explaining all the different ways that you can get out of bounds on this level. But if you do end up having to go out of bounds, I would, you know, you're gonna hit a checkpoint and you're going to teleport back up after you skip like the ambush. If you get key door, that key tile that I showed you, do the key tile. It's way easier. But if you don't get key tile, then try to see if you can find a way to get out of bounds. If you don't know how to do the out of bounds, you haven't learned it yet, just back out of the level and try again. You're gonna get to this table section, back out of the level and try again for key door. Just keep trying again until you get key door, because it's way easier and it'll just be a way easier run for you if you do. But that table section, you just kind of do quick and easy like that. I know I wasn't really talking about it too much, but you just kind of do it real quick and easy and you're done with it. This obsidian chest, I would say if you don't have a feather by now, I would say to go for it, just because it can drop a scatter, it can drop a feather, because it can drop artifacts. And you're gonna want the feather from Highblock Halls if you can get it. Like, whether you get it from the shop or from Highblock Halls, you're really gonna want it, and I'll tell you why. But you're gonna just kind of continue. And then you're at the end of the level, okay? Now, once you're here, I'm gonna switch to this level 15 Great Hammer, because it does more damage, and this 21 Scatter, because it does more damage. When you get here, you're gonna deal with a lot of guards, right on the first wave. I would say you're gonna want to just kind of combination use bow and weapon. I can't really help out too much on this section because I'm a little bit bad. But yeah, use a combination of your bow and melee, you know, kind of just bow and melee. If you're getting low, switch to your melee, you know, heal up. But if you have the health that, oh my god. Yeah, see, that's what you don't want to happen. Too many guards can get you in a corner, and it's impossible to get back out of that corner. Another thing is, if there's an enchanter, go ahead and... Oh my fucking god. This is ridiculous. Go ahead and get rid of the enchanter. Just because he causes some issues. He caused some issues with the guys that he enchants. It just makes it annoying. Go, you know... I'm switching to a fucking glaive. Oh my god. Glaive is just easier to use because of the range, and it's probably the easiest one to use on this version. But yeah, I had a level 17 blade. Why was I using a level 15 hammer? Hammer, you gotta get a little too close sometimes. I mean, it can knock them back, but you get a little too close sometimes. But yeah, pretty much, like, if they're more than a few feet away from you, I would just bow them. You know, if they're right in front of you, hit them with your okay, first off, I am really not doing a great job at showing this off because I'm using overpowered armor. Hold up. Let me just switch to this. Maybe my combat senses will kick in or something, because I'm definitely not doing a good job at showing this off. But yeah, kind of like, you're going to use your mercenary armor because, you know, you take less damage, of course. And then you're going to just powerhouse through them. You're going to have these guards, you're going to have these teleporting guys. These teleporting guys, use that TNT. Well, use the TNT on them, not like how I just used it. Don't do that. Throw it at them. See, I started getting low. I don't have my health bot, so I'll just back away, do that. Stay out of the fire. Please stay out of the fire. Don't die. Don't die. Don't die like I'm doing. don't even pick up that TNT until the next wave, because you're going to want to use it on the next wave. I don't really have the best stuff. There's better gear than this. There's better gear that you can use than this, but I'm going to throw it over there because I saw a lot of them spawning over there. It didn't really hit Jack, but whatever. I'm just dying a whole lot. I'm getting knocked off and I'm dying, and I'm not really doing a whole lot of showing anything about this freaking combat. I would look at Yom and FootCream's runs for combat. Oh my Jesus. Yeah, and this has weapon damage boost war, so I'd say Mercenary is probably the better one. But I'm really being stupid with it right now. Oh, yeah, like you can use... Jesus, I should have thought. When you're here, don't use your speed artifacts. Use a totem of regen. You know, maybe don't be dumb like me. Use a totem of regen. Use your death cap mushroom to get that extra damage off. And I would say stuff like horn, that is good to stun. Stuff like that. But yeah, go ahead and leave Highblock.
Press on, hero.
I'm probably not going to show the ambushes. I'm gonna assume that you've probably had to go through the ambushes on Highblock. And just know you're gonna want the key door. You're gonna want to get the key door. If you get to a better level of playing, I would try to learn the out of bounds stuff just in case you get an ambush. You know kind of how to deal with it. But here's our feather. I would say if you have 2 boots and you have a death cap, I would take that death cap off for the feather. The reason is if you have a swift, well, if you have swift foot. If you have swift foot, put the feather on either way, and I'll tell you why. There's 2 reasons. One is when you use the feather, you get the swift foot without the slowdown from roll, because roll actually does slow you down a little bit, but you get that that speed buff without being slowed down from rolling. Rolling does get you a good distance further though, so it's better to roll in some circumstances, but not really. Just use the feather. Here's the again, check the merchant. I would say around after Highblock, I would re-roll them. You know, if you don't have good stuff, I'd re-roll them a few times. You know what I mean? Anything you need, you know, re-roll them. See, there's a mercenary with rush. I actually, you know what? I'm gonna go through all of OP with this mercenary with rush, actually. Just to show you what rush can do on these harder levels, okay? You know, you can get these emeralds around the place for more, I don't know how many there are. There's like this one down here. There's another one down here. Yom typically goes for these. I don't know. I don't really see FootCream ever go for them, but Yom does. But there's Luxury Merchant. Like I said, if your armor's getting a little bit hard to use, like even if it has Swift Foot, like I would go for a damage negating armor by like HH or OP, High Block or Obsidian Pinnacle. I would go for a damage negating armor or a damage reducing armor just to survive a little bit better. That's really about it. This is the one time I would check the Luxury Merchant. That is jack shit. That's too much for that. It's not that good. I'm not gonna get it. I would say sometimes, rarely, I've seen a boot of swiftness in here for 200. I've seen a feather in here for 200. So, I mean, if you didn't get one after HH... Well, no, I was supposed to tell you to check this before HH. My bad. Supposed to tell you to check this before HH. You're gonna... Yeah. I checked this after HH. After you do Fiery Forge, check this once. You can check it again after HH if you don't have a feather. But if there's a feather here, I would reserve it, go through HH, go through Highblock. If you get a feather, then don't worry about it. You didn't spend any emeralds. Good for you. You get to gear yourself up. But if you did, if you didn't get a feather, then I would not, you know, I'd check it before HH. If it's not a feather, go through HH, see if you get a feather. If you still don't, maybe there'll be one in here after HH. But you're gonna want a feather, and I'll tell you why. Let's go into Obsidian Pinnacle. On current patch, there is 2 ways to skip Obsidian Pinnacle. Or not 2 ways. On current patch, there's 1 way to skip a ambush on Obsidian Pinnacle, which is, let's see, like every time I get hit, which isn't too much because these guys aren't wanting to hit me now. Every time you get hit, you get rush. You can use your feather, like this guard right here. Oh, I feathered into him, he got stunned, okay? But you want this feather because when you get to this ambush here, and I'm not going to walk down these steps. When you get to this ambush, there's 2 variations. There's 2 different ambushes you can get on Obsidian Pinnacle, and this is one of them. It's all stone. It's an all stone look. It's like a square. The other one's more like circular, like rectangular looking. It's got logs all around the side of it. This one's all stone. You can't really see it from this angle, but it's all stone. You are going to go around this fence here, and I'm going to get rid of the map overlay so it's not over my freaking thing. I'm going to go around the fence here. There is a trigger for the ambush to start at the bottom of these steps, just right here, okay? You cannot get past it unless you do this. So you go over here. You're going to roll. Well, actually, don't do that. I would say easy setup. Just kind of come down here. Just use your feather to come down here. And then try to get yourself to the edge of the block here. And then aim yourself towards this block and you'll get up, okay? That's how you want to do that. You're gonna go around this, and I can't go back up because the trigger's right there. That's the only time I can show you it. You're gonna go around, and you can't go around to the side all the time either. It doesn't work all the time, but most of the time you can go around the side of the ledge, hop off that ledge down to this one, and then get to the edge of this one, and use your feather to get up onto this block here. Because you skipped that trigger, this gate will not go up, and you can just walk past it. There is something. Oh my god. Too many enemies. Oh, I wanted to grab that one before I died. There's way too many enemies there, though. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I'm gonna end up just doing the rest of it with this gear, though, because I got rush anyways. See, rush just kind of sends you flying, but yeah, make sure you get your bread, because you want that healing. Rush will kind of send you flying. It's a good, I would say at this point, rush is probably a good alternative to Swiftfoot, just because by now you should have boots of swiftness, which isn't too much slower than Swiftfoot, so you might as well. Now here, there's this ledge. You don't want to go down into the hall. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to come around here, get to the edge of this block, like this, line yourself up, okay? Line yourself up with this ledge right here. There's a little barrier here, so you got to kind of angle it towards the right half of this block. You aim it towards the left half, you're going to hit the barrier. Aim it towards the right half of this block, and roll. Okay, I'm bad at the game. I am freaking bad at the game. I am so bad at the game. Or, you know, a better one would probably be to stand here. This is another version of it, though. You can stand here on the edge of this block. Corner of this block. Let me just get rid of the overlay just to see. Corner of this block and roll to the block from here. I'm still terrible at this game. I think you have to line your cursor up to the... I don't usually set it up, so that's why I'm not used to it. I think you have to line it up to the left side. But you kind of want your... See how your player is facing. That'd be a better way to kind of tell you how to do this. Your player should be facing straight with that block. See how he's facing to the right now? You want him facing straight with that block. Then you're going to want to roll. Now you're on this block here. From this block, you're going to want to walk up that ledge up here. And now just go through the rest of the level. When using Boots of Swiftness, time your Boots of Swiftness out. It wasn't hard for me to time it with Evocation Robe. Oh, look, I was on fire. You get on fire, it actually gives you a good speed boost. If you don't have a lot of arrows, I would drop down into the end of the hall section to get arrows, but for the most part, I would just go. It's too slow. I would just go. I'm gonna dip my toes in the lava just to get that rush. That's another thing. If you have rush, I would dip your toes like in fire because it gives you good speed boost. Now on this tile here, I do want to mention that there's a good skip here because if you go down this jump pad, you're gonna have to go around to the other jump pad over there. But I'm gonna show you how to just skip both of these jump pads and go this way because it's a little bit quicker. So skip those jump pads. There's logs all down the side here. You can see them up here. They're all down the side here. You're gonna just want to roll over here, and that will get you across, and you'll come around the edge, and you'll come to the jump pad. They sometimes block you, but don't worry about it too much. Go just get to that jump pad, and you'll go around. Now you're at the end of Obsidian Pinnacle. You're just gonna want to go up the stairs real quick. Ignore everything. Just go up the stairs real quick. Now, if you have anybody that followed you up here, here's where you hit the checkpoint. So go ahead and kill them before you start the boss fight. And I would say, you know, if you're on top level, just run right into the fight. But if they chased you up there, kind of kill them so they're not back down there, like, when you respawn and they don't, like, take your health or something. But there's a few things here that I do want to mention that kind of make this fight a little bit easier. Okay, that's a bad start. That's a really bad start. Yeah, it sucks when he spawns them enemies in right away. Honestly, I don't know. I feel like but yeah, he's just gonna do that. If you have a mech bow, oh, it's really good. You could just beam him, and he'll just keep shooting you because you're not even close to him. Try not to take too much damage from him like I'm doing now. Again, use your shit, like Tome of Regen. Don't use what I'm using where I'm not getting any healing. Then you'll get into the Heart of Ender. I would say, once again, kind of beam him. When he does this attack, roll through his beams. Just go through them. Because if you try to dodge them, you're going to end up hitting something else. And it's going to cost you. Make sure you adjust yourself to this. He's probably going to end up doing the beam attack again here in a second. Like, right there. You're going to want to roll through it again. Usually try to regen. Just kind of keep beaming him. He'll stay. You'll see him go into the ground sometimes, but he'll stay wherever he went down at, okay? Wherever he went down into the ground at is where he will stay. So just kind of keep beaming that same spot. Because he's still there, whether you think he is or not, he's still there. So just keep beaming him, and then once he dies, this will fall down, and you just run to the end. Don't even think about anything, just go ahead, make your way to the end, and when you touch Archie, the run's over. That is your time. I feel like this explanation was probably a little bit longer than I was expecting it to be by like at least 20 minutes. It's pretty long. But just know that that's how you deal with all those levels. I maybe could have explained it a little bit better. I feel like I explained everything that you need to look out for and how to deal with stuff. It's really hard to kind of explain combat. You just kind of have to watch. I would say for Highblock especially, Highblock Halls, Final Ambush, I would skip to um I would go to the world record runs. Like I would go to the top runners and I would skip to top runners being Yom and FootCream. I would skip to their runs. I would skip to Highblock Halls ambush and watch how they take care of that. That's how you want to do your combat. Besides that, you're just going to want to run through every level. You just keep moving. You're looking out for Swiftfoot. What your movement stuff, you're looking out for Swiftfoot, boots. Death Cap is good for dealing with the ambushes faster. You're looking out for you're even looking out for Rush. Rush is probably a better alternative because rush allows you to take hits, and you're going to be wanting to take hits with mercenary armor. If you get Swiftfoot on mercenary armor, you could actually use Swiftfoot. It'd probably be better. But if you get the reinforced mail, it has a roll negative, I think. Like, it makes your roll like really punishing. So you're just gonna want to use rush if it has it. Uh, Besides that, I'm kind of gonna explain the weapons a little bit more. I mean, all the artifacts you can kind of use in some way to your advantage, but for the most part, I would really just look out for what I had mentioned through each level. But, oh no, undo that, because that's one of the things. Now, these are not the power levels that you'll probably see these drop at. They'll probably drop at higher power levels. But point being that these can help you. There's a few different things I do want to point out here too, though. Glaives are pretty good. They have good range. See, I'm hitting from way back here. Way back here, you know. There's also the combo on them. But yeah, they give you pretty good range. Sword's your basic weapon. I mean, it'll get you through like Creeper Woods and Cacti Canyon, but when you get to Desert Temple, you're either gonna want to switch to a glaive or a soul knife, which I apparently got rid of. Enchants to look out for melees, I would say Echo. There's committed. I feel like you should know committed. Echo just gives you an extra attack every few seconds. It goes on cooldown. You only want to get this once. You only want to level it up once. You only want to bring it to level 1 because you want to save your enchant points. That's another thing. Save your enchant points for your movement enchants being Rush and Swiftfoot. Mostly Swiftfoot. But anything else, I would only put 1 enchant point into it if you have the extra enchant points. Because you want to try and bring your Swiftfoot to level 2 at least. Sometimes 3. Sometimes, you know, your melee and your bows, they don't have any enchants that are worth it. I would say the only enchants that are worth it are probably Echo, if you're kind of lacking in damage for your melee. And for, like, bows, I would say either Ricochet, multi-shot, or growing. Growing is really good with trick bows, but I don't have a growing on this trick bow. But growing is really, really good with trick bows, so you can get the mechanical short bow in Desert Temple also, or a short bow in Desert Temple, which is an upgrade to your bow. Your normal bow anyways. So you're gonna want to take that. Um, Scattershot bow. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I think only the harp crossbow is the good variation of the scatter crossbow. It's not. The scatter crossbow is not as good as I thought it was, because I was using it in the video and I feel like it was kind of lacking. But you can get a trick bow and cacti. I would say if it drops at power level 10, that's pretty good for the whole rest of your run, because you can it bounces off of enemies, you know what I mean? And if you charge it up too, and it bounces from enemy to enemy, that does good damage, okay? It does good damage. So it'll bounce from enemy to enemy. You're gonna want that. Really any hammer, if you don't have like a soul knife or a glaive at this, like by the time you get to Fiery Forge, you're still kind of lacking in damage. Like you got like a power level 4 glaive. I would pick up a hammer in Fiery Forge if possible. Like if you don't have a glaive or a soul knife and you have a chance to get a hammer, that's probably the only other option you really have at that point is a hammer. So I would go ahead and get a hammer. Like bows, you know, the mechanical short bow, you can get that in Desert Temple from either killing the boss or the obsidian chest or even the loot pig sometimes, but um you know, that does good damage. But yeah, your bows, I'd say scatter, trick bow, short bow, mechanical short bow is probably one of the better ones you can get. You can also get, I think, unique variant of the trick bow that's pretty good. It's like the Green Menace, I think. It shoots like poison out. That does a lot of damage to groups of mobs, like especially the guards on wave 1 of HH. It's pretty good. Um, but now that I've gone over gear and whatnot, let me show. Let me go back to default. Let me show a one glitch. There's only one that I really want to go over, and then if anyone's curious about tower or anything, or not, yeah, tower, like older patch, we use tower in our any percent run. If anyone's curious about that, I'm gonna end up making a separate video on it where I can explain it more in depth. It'll probably only be about a 15-minute video because this is more the general like skills video, but yeah, let me get to the end of the level for this explanation though. Okay. Now I'm gonna show how to skip the dialogue at the end of every level, except for Obsidian Pinnacle, because that's your ending level. But this saves, I think. I'm trying to think. If you've got about, I'm pretty sure the dialogue at the end of the levels. I think it's like 7 for Creeper Woods, 5 for Cacti Canyon, 5 for Redstone Mines, 7 for Fiery Forge, 7 for Desert Temple, I think 7 for Highblock also. So you got 21, 28, and then... So you're saving about 40 seconds, put it that way, okay? This saves about 40 seconds. Doing this every level, if you do it quick enough, every level, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna open your menu, go to the return to camp. You have to be hovering over this. On PC, you're gonna hit enter, and this will bring up the return to camp screen. But what you're gonna do is you're going to hit whatever button you want. There's multiple buttons for this, but you're gonna practice it. I personally like using escape and enter, but escape will close out your menu, okay? You're gonna want to do escape enter real quick, okay? I'm having a hard time getting this, but you'll get better at it as you go. Now, actually, no, I don't like doing escape enter. I think I do backspace enter. I think backspace works too. But escape, you can close and reopen. Backspace just takes you back. You can't reopen it with backspace. But anyways, what you want to do is whatever button you use to exit your menu, you're going to hit that one first. And then the very next frame, you're going to hit enter. What this will do, if you do it back to back, the buttons back to back, is, and I gotta do it right, it'll pop up this screen. You will have closed out the menu, but you will have opened up the return to camp message box before that menu closes out, so now it's hovering over your screen. You're not in the menu, but this is still showing. Now, as you'll see, if I click anywhere up here, it ends up closing out the menu. You can't do anything with that. If you try clicking on the door, it does not work. You'll just go to the door. You can only interact with anything. Oh my god. Sorry, I haven't done this in a freaking while. Jesus God, help me. Oh my god. Stop. What the fuck am I doing here, brother? What am I doing? There we go. Good golly. You can only interact with anything inside this gray box, okay? So, you're more than likely, you're going to want to stand, like on Creeper Woods, you're going to want to stand on these stairs, because when you open this box up, your box will already be over the exit. And you have to click the exit or the final, like whatever the last thing is that you have to click on to leave the level. You click on it through this gray blocks and it loads the victory, and then you quit the camp. Oh, and it's actually 5 seconds for creeper woods, my bad. But then you just quit the camp, okay? So you click on the level, you quit the camp, and you still get your end of level chest, and it'll still count the level as being completed because you touched the final objective and you got the victory screen. As long as you get that victory screen, the level's completed and it will unlock the next levels and it will save you time. So you're going to want to do that at the end of every level. This is just something I decided to add on to the end because I didn't feel like I should get too much into glitches during the explanation, but that is only possible on computer. Um, you're just going to want to use whatever keys you're comfortable with. I feel like the backspace enter method is the best, but you're just going to get that. You're going to hit your close menu button, whatever one you close it with. You're going to hit that one first, and then the very next frame, hit your enter button. So you'll pretty much hit them about the same time. It's like it's really close together, but with some practice, you start getting those presses down consistently, and you'll be skipping the dialogue at the end of every level, and it'll save you like 40 seconds over the entire run. So it's worth going for. It's worth learning, and it's worth going for really any level of playing. But I would say if you're not good at it, don't worry about getting good at it until you maybe have a time under 40 minutes. That's when I would say, it might be beneficial to learn it and use it in your runs. But that's all I have to say regarding gear, regarding the route and combat, movement, stuff like that. I'm hoping I covered everything pretty well because it seems that newer runners that we have coming to the community are confused with some things. So I'm just hoping that this video answers any and all questions. This will not answer any questions for the tower version of any percent, but I will make a separate video on that, and it will exclusively cover the part that deals with tower. Because if you've watched this video, then you pretty much already understand how to do the rest of the game. But the other version of, like, the older versions of any percent where we use the tower, I will exclusively explain tower. And if you don't know how to speedrun the rest of the game, then in that tower video, I will probably refer you watch this one. So then you know how to do the rest of the game after tower. Um, I would say current patch is just really good for general. And I'll bring that up too real quick. I'll switch over real quick. Gonna bring up the screen here. So here's the older version of any percent. I'll show like, a little, because I've had lots of people ask me questions about this, but I'm not able to explain this right now. We'll go into tower and you'll see this glitch where they'll get to this door here and they'll just start zooming through the levels. This is not possible on the current patch of the game anymore. This is only possible on the older versions of the game, and I'm not going to explain that here in this video because this video is already long enough. But my next video will be explaining this, and um and that glitch that you just saw applies to this any percent board where any version is used, as you can see, 1.14, 1.4, 1.9. But the video that I just recorded is for this board here, current patch. Everything I just said will apply to current patch, but my next video will be explaining the harder tricks that you do on the older versions for 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 any percent. So I will start working on that video, and I will I think I'll just end the video here. I think I've said all I need to say. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you're interested in speedrunning this game.